Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Tackling Basketball Podcast. My name is Evan.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Mike.
All right, we got a fun episode ahead for you guys, covering more and more NFL transactions because they just keep coming in. This NFL offseason is wild. Got all the mainstay segments, but let's jump right into it with Toast and Roast. Jonathan, who are you toasting this week?
I'm toasting a guy named Dan Monson, who, after spending 20 years as head coach of Long Beach State and then finishing his season on a 6-game losing streak, he was informed by the organization that he was going to be let go at the end of the season. A couple of days later, they also informed him that they weren't able to find like an interim head coach, so he was going to take them through their conference tournament and like just finish out the year for playoffs with them. And what he did then was proceed to win 4 straight games in the conference tournament and secure a spot in the NCAA tournament. Just a giant middle finger to his organization. Like, you guys messed up. This guy has spent like almost 20 years with the team and just took you guys to one of your first ever appearances in the bracket. They wound up in Selection Sunday getting the 15th seed. They're going to be playing against Arizona in the first round in the Western region, which is going to be certainly a very difficult matchup, but also like huge props to them for making it this far, their whole team, and especially the coach who, through these last 4 games, has built up enough of a story and enough of a legacy that it's pretty likely he's going to find another job next year. He's already come out and said that like coaching is his passion. He was really upset to be fired and that he thinks that he wants to and deserves to get another job. And I do think that he's earned it. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think if I was in that situation, I would give like 5% effort into coaching those games.
Yeah.
I would not care at all. The fact that he won all of those games and got the spot is just a testament that he's a better man than I am.
Attaboy, Dan. All right. For my toast, I'm going over to soccer. I'm toasting Christian Pulisic, American right winger, currently playing for AC Milan. This past weekend, he broke the record for most goals scored by an American in Serie A. He has over 20 goal contributions this year, is absolutely killing it. He has been the best American soccer player in the world for the past several years now at this point. He has become Captain America for the U.S. team. But he's looking like an absolute beast in Serie A. And the best part about it is that he has turned into an Italian scumbag player. For those people that don't watch soccer, Italians are notorious for just like shoving people over, being absolute jackasses. And Christian Pulisic has embraced it, and it is a thing of beauty. So cheers to Christian Pulisic for just being an absolute legend and giving us Americans hope that the U.S. men's soccer team might actually be good sometime in the near future.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I'm going to be toasting the New Orleans Pelicans, who so far in the month of March have gone 6 of their last 7 games and are just kind of on a hot streak, are a fun team to watch right now. Zion is going crazy doing Zion things. Herb Jones is one of the more impressive defenders right now. BI has been a solid number 2. CJ is a great at being the floor general. And while in this 7-game span, it's not like their teams that they beat have been the greatest. It's Portland, the Clippers, who are in a slump right now, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Toronto, and Indiana. But the biggest problem I've had with New Orleans this whole season has just been consistency. They've been a team who will constantly beat great teams and lose to terrible teams. So even just the fact of beating these mediocre teams is a big deal. And the way that they're playing fully healthy, they've got their schemes and their systems together. I think finally this is a team that could actually like kind of do something, and they're making a push at the right time, giving me hope that they can do something. Obviously not win. The West is way too hard, but easily make a second round appearance for sure. I think they could do depending on what seed they get. But Pelicans are fun to watch, finally.
Yeah. I think it'll take all of them staying healthy for them to be able to do anything,
Oh,
even to like escape the play-in tournament. But I mean, they're as healthy as they've been right now, so that's a good sign, and they're all starting to come together.
Yay, Pelicans. Part of me, just for the lulz, part of me kind of wants the Pelicans to just win it all this year so that CJ McCollum wins a ring before Dame. That would just be kind of funny. All right. Time to stop being nice. Over to roast. Jonathan, take it away.
Yeah, I'm going to be roasting the ownership for the Kansas City Chiefs, specifically a man named Clark Hunt. Um, Last year, the NFLPA released what they call their annual report cards. Basically, every single player that is on a team goes through and grades their team in certain areas. And a lot of these are just direct reflections of the ownership. Things like treatment of facilities or treatment of families, sorry, where the Chiefs received a D plus grade. Things like nutritionist or dietitian, where they received an F grade. Things like the locker room quality, an F grade. The training staff, an F grade. The team travel, a D grade. And they even rated directly ownership themselves, gave Clark Hunt an F minus, good for last in the league in that quarter category, and second worst franchise to be a part of in the entire league. And a lot of people, I think, were really surprised when this came out because, I mean, the Chiefs have had just this massive record of success. They have like a legendary head coach who, by the way, was rated first out of all of the coaches on this report card, A plus from his players. And you would imagine that like this much success with a team would largely come from a very successful organization and a well-run team. But the fandom kind of got a glimpse into why he is so terrible just a couple of weeks ago when he came out into a press conference and announced that he wants to renovate the stadium, an $800 million renovation project, and he doesn't want to pay for it. He wants the city to pay for it. He wants taxpayers to pay for it. And he even threatened that if the city refuses, the team will have to consider all of their options, including leaving. Are you fucking kidding me? This is like one of the most successful franchises. I mean, currently, this is one of the most successful eras in the history of the league. Like, they've cemented like legacy status, and the city has been nothing but supportive, and the franchise is doing really well here. And you're going to threaten to move the city over what is chump change to you. I believe that the ownership group's net worth is somewhere in the realm of $40 billion. Like they can 100% afford to do this, and 100% it will be an investment into the product that they have that will pay itself back really damn quickly, given how successful they are right now. And he's just so greedy that he needs to have his payment, his like cost brought down to zero and put it all on his fan base. And that is just so scummy.
well said.
I like it. I'm just sitting over here thinking, Portland, Portland, Portland. All right. Time to roast another garbage franchise and a garbage owner. Let's go. Screw the Dallas Cowboys. So reason I'm roasting the Cowboys is at the end of the season, when the Cowboys were eliminated by the Packers, Jerry Jones was interviewed after the game and he said, "Oh, we're going to be going all in next year." To which everybody shrugged and was confused because if last year wasn't going all in, no one was really sure what that meant. But everybody kind of thought, oh, that means this year you guys are going to go out and spend a lot on free agents and bring in players that you guys need and bolster the team. But here we stand, a week and a half after free agency started, and the Cowboys have yet to sign anybody who wasn't already on the team. And Jerry Jones has since come out and clarified that all in meant we're going to build through the draft and embrace players who want to be here. And it's like Jerry, that's a rebuild. That's not what all in means at
He's all
all.
in. He's all in the fact that everyone who's already in will all stay in.
Yeah, so I it's just a dumb look for the Cowboys, especially coming off of the season they just had. Yes, they lost in the first round of playoffs, but that was a team that was fully capable of winning a Super Bowl had they been able to make it through that first round. They could be a contender. But now, as we stand, we currently have no idea who is going to be playing running back for the Dallas Cowboys right now or next year. As far as I know, last time I checked, they currently don't have a running back on their roster. So that will be
Oh,
interesting. Maybe they do, but if they did, it was like they re-signed the like second or third string guy that was behind Tony Pollard. So they definitely don't have like a true RB1. That's for damn sure. And their running game is a huge part of the Dallas Cowboys. They let go of Michael Gallup. They like, I just don't understand what they're doing. It just looks dumb. And with the way they're approaching it, there's part of me that just wants to say, if this is how the Cowboys are going to operate, get rid of Dak. Like trade him away, get stuff for Dak, and just rebuild. Because this is just stupid. You're not giving Dak and CD and Micah Parsons, all those guys, a chance to actually compete if you don't bolster up this roster. Those guys can't do it by themselves. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, I feel like they've been running their organization very poorly these last few years, almost as if they always thought that they were already all in, just constantly, continually building through the draft and not really changing any of, not really making any splashes, any trades, any huge signings. And I think that they've gone that route fairly successfully, but it's not enough to take you over the top, and they might start to fall off now as a result. So, time of change.
all right, Micah, finish us strong here.
Will do. I'm roasting the Milwaukee Bucks, who on St. Patrick's Day wore their blue alternate jerseys. You're one of two, maybe three if you count Minnesota teams that have green in your uniform. And on St. Patrick's Day, you go, no, we're going to wear the stupid alternates that's going to make us look like the Mavericks. I hate alternate jerseys that have nothing to do with your original color scheme. Use something that makes you look like the team you play for. It drives me insane. Other than that game they played incredibly well. Without Giannis, they beat Phoenix. Bobby Portis went 31 and 10 off 5 for 5 threes. Dame went 31 on 16 assists. Very fun game to watch. One of two incredible games on Sunday. But yeah, just wear your green jerseys. It's not hard. It's St. Patrick's Day, you idiots. You're already green. God.
That jersey looks like me when I put on my green underwear so that I can tell people I can't be pinched.
I think that is the most passionate that Micah has been on a roast, and it was about not wearing green on St. Patty's Day.
You're the Bucks. That's your color. Any other jersey, you would have been fine.
All right, we're gonna move it along before Micah starts throwing stuff. All right, over to NFL prospect scouting. Last week was interesting. Micah did a kicker, always a fun time. This week, let's jump into it though. Jonathan, who you got for this week?
Yeah, this week I am scouting a tight end out of Iowa University, currently on ESPN's big board. I believe he's the 10th ranked tight end with a 5th round grade. And I just really wanted to take a deeper dive into him because he is currently attending what a lot of people call tight end university in Iowa. They just constantly produce top end talent in this league. And he's hoping to be the next guy to be able to be called that. Um, he was a transfer from Michigan State this last year, or I think 2 years ago, actually, into Iowa University, and wound up spending the rest of his career there. A pretty talented route runner and a talented guy, especially after the catch. I don't typically look at yak ability with a lot of like excitement as far as the NFL level. I don't think it translates super well, but he does have some of the things that I really look for in that, which is a really solid base and like just maintaining that through contact, just enough to. I'm not going to say that he's necessarily going to break away in the NFL, but he's going to get you that extra 3 yards after the catch on a fairly consistent basis that you'll need in order to do the important things like get first downs or finish off a drive. Um, he has his main concern really is as a run blocker. He tends to over rely on his power, his
Keep going.
he tends to over rely on his power blocking and sort of lacks a lot in technique. And you can sort of, if you are a very talented power blocker, you can get away with a little bit more in the pass blocking scheme, especially if you're a tight end with that sort of dual threat ability. But when it comes to run blocking, he really didn't flash many highlights. He either put the guy in the dirt or he gave up like position in the backfield, no in between. So could stand to improve a little bit there, but overall, pleased with his ability as a receiver, glue hands, and I think a three-level threat in that game. So potential to certainly surpass his current draft stock. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think that I could imagine him earning a round 1 or 2 draft grade, even if even later in his career, but I think that he will surpass his 5th round draft grade that he's currently getting.
Interesting name too, Eric All.
Right.
That just he honestly just they just kind of sounds like a tight end name. All right, for my guy, going with another Oregon guy. Micah did one earlier, but Oregon's good. They got a lot of prospects. I'm going with Kyrie Jackson, corner out of Oregon. 6'4", 294 pounds. He is a big boy for a cornerback. 36 and a half inch vert, 4.5, 40-yard time. So nothing crazy when it comes to those. A little bit of background on him. He started out his career at Bama before transferring to Oregon. As soon as he got to Oregon, dude started popping off. In his junior year, he had 26 tackles, 7 assists, 12 stops, 8 pass breaks, 3 interceptions, and 2 sacks. And opposing quarterbacks averaged a 41.6 rating when targeting him.
Wow.
Absolutely nuts stats as a junior, and he pretty much kept up the exact same pace into his senior year. Starting out with his weaknesses, like a lot of college corners, he has a tendency to get a little bit grabby, especially on the jerseys downfield, can draw a decent amount of penalties, something he'll need to be coached out of. He's not very strong in press coverages due to his stiffness, which impacts his ability to change direction quickly, which is not a good thing in press. He lacks top end speed, so he's not going to be someone you could pair up against the faster wide receivers of the NFL. So you probably need to put him on like the number 2, number 3 guy when it comes to speed. And then his tackling technique needs to be coached up a bit. He often tries to make too many tackles with just his arms, which is never a good way to go about it. Or he tries to make tackles without like enough force going into it. And it kind of just comes across as this wimpy little like, hey, thing. So that needs to be coached up. But in terms of strengths, great length and size, again, 6'4", for the cornerback position, and he knows how to effectively use that length to his advantage. Fantastic ball tracking ability, and he can contest catches with great body control. Very good timing on challenging receivers at the catch point. Very, very high football IQ, especially in zone. Does a great job at reading and jumping routes. and very effective blitzer too, able to get around blockers and put pressure on the quarterback. So overall, great physical attributes, very high IQ, and something a guy I think will intrigue scouts a lot, but definitely needs to refine his technique and will have to get used to kind of the speed of the NFL once he gets into there. So definitely see him as a third or fourth round guy, but somebody with a lot of upside for whoever's willing to take a shot at him.
Yeah, I like it. He's got an aggressive play style, I think, but he's got the like awareness to back it up. And he's, I think, fairly talented in a press man situation. Will get beat badly a couple of times because of a couple of those traits that you mentioned, but will also make some pretty impressive plays at the same time. I kind of wonder if he was slightly worse in man coverage, would we have seen him transition to free safety in college? And even could we see him transition to free safety in the NFL? Because we saw him break fast to the ball whenever the play was committed, which is a huge trait for like that middle of the field roaming position. And I think that he's got some strengths that you desire from a corner, but he's got more that you might desire from that safety position.
Yeah, that could make a lot of sense for him. All right, will Micah follow up his ranking of a kicker with a punter? Here we go. No.
No, I'm going with the wide receiver, Devontae or Tez, if you will, Walker. He's a wide receiver. His best attribute is how just athletic and physical he is. In the combine, he had the 8th fastest 40 yard at 4.36 seconds and the second highest vert at 40 and a half inches. He's 6'2", 193, just an absolute physical beast. Weaknesses are just kind of skill and technique.
Oh, no.
Just minor things, no big deal.
Very minor things. Like all of his weaknesses are like route running and sloppy footwork. But one of the upsides to him is how much he improved in his last season in some of these difficult catches and in some of those routes. He is definitely someone who I would not pick early by any means and wouldn't pick by a team that's like currently rebuilding or trying to grow. This is someone who I think needs to be in a good system already with a lot of skilled players and coaches that can just whip him into shape. He has shown that he can improve and can get better at these things, but he's not someone who is ready to just come in and start doing damage. Like, he's got the physical ability to be great if he gets smarter and better. And it's someone who can like easily like get up there and get those tough, like high passes. But he's got some
Ringing endorsement.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny reading all of people's scouts of him because all of the like downsides are so blurry that it's so terrible.
Yeah, I think I agree with most of those downsides. I think that his upside that you mentioned of he's good at like making some of those difficult catches, I almost view that as an addition to those downsides because in the highlights that I saw where he made difficult catches, he largely made the catch difficult, like just being out of position.
Yeah.
He completed it, but so very low hopes.
I feel like I looked at him a little bit. I feel like kind of the NFL comp that I had in mind was like John Ross, like raw physical talent, but when it came to technique and like skill, just wasn't necessarily there. So hopefully he can outdo John Ross. Not that John Ross is bad, but rooting for you, Devontae. Well, let's hop over to NFL free agency, talk through more of the transactions that have gone down. There's been a lot more stuff happening. We'll go through these pretty quick. We don't need a long talk session about every single one of these guys. Again, a lot of stuff has happened. I essentially kind of pulled out the biggest ones, I guess, or the most important ones. So we'll start out with Calvin Ridley, 4-year contract with the Tennessee Titans, leaving the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do y'all think?
Man, massive props to Calvin Ridley on this one. I mean, you look at this guy who came off of that like horrible ACL tear, was out for 2 seasons in all effectiveness, and just came back with a vengeance last year. Proved that he is like, if anything, better than he was before the injury, and earned a massive contract to boot. I believe it's a 4-year, $96 million contract, if I'm correct, which is just, I mean, that's a lot of money for a wide receiver, and I think he earned it. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be a really dangerous threat with the Tennessee Titans, and I'm excited to see what they're able to do with him if they can get a quarterback.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. I really liked his comments that he made after the trade. A lot of what he said was essentially, I want to be the guy. I felt like Jacksonville had too many explosive talents that I wasn't being utilized enough, which I read as, man, Tennessee sucks. These guys are awful. I'm going to be the guy here, which he will be.
yeah,
But if I was on Tennessee and he was making all the comments he was making, I'd be like, dude, what the hell, man?
no one's proven themselves yet on Tennessee. He's right about that.
Oh, he's absolutely
I think it's
right.
also largely because their scheme is very run heavy, and also Ryan Tannehill is getting old.
Mhm.
So they are just not a very good passing threat right now. But he's going to look to really increase that. I hope that
yeah.
Treylon Burks is going to develop into his next season as well. And maybe you attach an extra wide receiver through the draft and maybe a quarterback. Then we might see something from him.
Yeah, they definitely need a new quarterback.
All right. On to the next one. Jonathan's boy, Jerry Jeudy, from being traded to the Cleveland Browns for 2024 fifth and sixth round. I know he's not your boy, Jonathan, but he's on the Broncos. Cleveland Browns for a 2024 fifth and sixth round pick. Bit of a fall from grace there for our boy, Jerry Jeudy, who was taken in the first round. Jonathan, as a Broncos fan, how you feeling?
Jerry Jeudy was the earliest drafted wide receiver in Broncos history at 15th overall. So the fall from that to fifth and sixth round picks combined is really bad for the Broncos. And genuinely, I do think that Jerry Jeudy probably should have commanded more than that. He's on an expiring contract, but he's still on a rookie contract. So he is like paid not as much as he could be. And he also, I think the big thing that I am happy about as a Broncos fan is that it wasn't Cortland Sutton that we moved on from. Because I've always thought of him as the better receiver in the NFL. And I think it's really encouraging that we will probably be able to save some money with a guy that I view as better. Although, from the Browns' perspective, this is also a win. You look at this as like Judy's sort of coming into a crowded receiver room here with a quarterback that is hoping to get back to the echelon of talented quarterbacks again. And I think that it's a pretty good fit for him and that it's a pretty cheap price for them. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike and I will just give that a nod. All right. Derrick Henry, 2-year contract with the Baltimore Ravens. Scary for pretty much any team in the AFC. I
yeah.
would be terrified. But Micah, what you think?
I mean, I love it for the Ravens. Like, running back was probably their weakest position, and Derrick Henry is still really, really good.
I mean, how do you game plan for that? Like,
Yeah.
not just for Derrick Henry, you now have to game plan for Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry combined. If I was
Yeah,
a
right.
if I was a defender, I would just cry. Like I
And Mark Andrews is still one of the best tight ends. Zay Flowers is only going to get better. Like, I was already very scared of Baltimore, and they got scarier. So,
yeah, the rich get
Yeah.
richer.
yeah.
No arguments here. I mean, I will say they did have a talented running back rostered last year in J.K. Dobbins, but he only played one game because of injuries.
Yeah.
You also look at like teams that tend to have a dual threat quarterback also tend to elevate their rushing game as a result, even beyond just the expected capabilities of the running back and the offensive line. So when you pair that with who has been the second most dominant running back in the league for the last 4 years, you're going to have a really potent rushing attack. And that's terrifying.
All right. Over to Keenan Allen being traded from the Chargers over to the Chicago Bears for a 2024 fourth. Not sure anybody knows exactly what's going on with the Chargers, but the Bears have a pretty scary wide receiver room now. They just now need to find their quarterback to go along with it.
They found him. They know who it is.
I mean, yes, we all know who they're taking. They just got to hope that he is, in fact, the revolutionary quarterback that so many people have been deeming him to be.
Yeah.
And that the Bears don't mess him up as they've messed up pretty much every quarterback they've drafted for the past 30 years.
Right. I do think that this was a really good move from them. Like a lot of people, I think, were very confused. Like from both sides of this thing, I think that a lot of people were confused. First of all, why were the Chargers looking to get rid of Keenan Allen, which I still think is a very fair point. But then a lot of people were confused about why the Bears would want Keenan Allen as an older, aging receiver who is almost certainly not going to be ready for is certainly not going to be like still in his prime or anything by the time the Bears are competitive. And that's true, but you also look at their primary goal as a franchise right now has to be to develop their young quarterback. And if you can bring in a veteran presence at wide receiver to not only coach up the quarterback, but also coach up the other receivers who will be on the team long term, that is going to pay dividends for your franchise. And at the cost of a fourth round pick, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was one of those people who was confused about it. It's like, this doesn't match the timeline, but that is a great point. Like, you do need some veteran leadership on that team, and Keenan Allen can for sure bring that.
Yeah. Yeah. On the flip side, the Chargers confuse me, especially after releasing Mike Williams.
Yeah.
I don't know why you get rid of both of Justin Herbert. Like, if the mindset is tear down, completely rebuild around Herbert, like he's still young enough, you can do a full rebuild with him there and become competitive again. Fine. But like ways to piss off Justin Herbert 101. This right here. You cut Mike Williams, you let Gerald Everett, his favorite tight end, walk, and then you
Yeah.
trade Keenan Allen. Homeboy now has no one to throw to. Like Quentin Johnson is now the best wide receiver on the Chargers, and
By
that
a
dude
lot.
sucks.
Agreed.
So
Here are their four wide receivers that they still have on the roster. Quentin Johnston, who we just established sucks. Joshua Palmer, who I know his name because I've been like dedicated to football for so many years, but I probably shouldn't know his name.
He's on my fantasy team.
Darius Davis, who I don't know, which is a big sign. And then Simi Fehoko, I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name, but you're nobody in this league. And I don't know, like, I don't know what they're doing right now. Yes, you can argue that like a full rebuild is going to be the right direction, but you also need to consider the idea that, I mean, you can't really get away with a shitty team if Justin Herbert is coming up on a contract extension. You need to convince him to stay. You need to like build that successful character as a team. And this is not the way to do it.
I mean, they just locked him in for an additional 4 years this past season, so they got time. But yeah, I'd be pissed if I was Justin. So, all
At least
right.
contracts mean something in the NFL, unlike the NBA.
Yeah.
Because if this were the NBA, he would just ask for a trade.
All right. Next one. Sam Darnold, 1 year contract with the Minnesota Vikings as of right now to become the QB1 in Minnesota. Um,
Poor Minnesota.
Uh-oh. Evan, we'll be right back.
oh, there we go.
Yay!
Yeah, you
Okay.
cut out right after saying RB1.
Yep. So Sam Darnold will likely become the Q1 in Minnesota. Um, as a fan of a team in the same division, this makes me very happy. But what do you guys think?
I mean, poor Minnesota.
Yeah,
That's rough.
I don't know what direction they're taking this team. I don't know what direction they should take this team, probably towards a full rebuild. But then you look at guys like Justin Jefferson, who is trapped here. Um, in a full rebuild, you probably need to move on from him. You're going to get a lot of assets for that, but it just sucks to go from like their high 2 years ago of being 13-3 and competitive to now being like we're Sam Darnold is currently the front runner in our QB competition. It's pretty sad. Yeah, that's all.
Yep. Okay, cool. Moving on. All right. And Gardner Minshew taking Minshew Mania to Las Vegas Raiders to become the new quarterback since Jimmy G signed with the Rams, so he's out of there. 2 year contract with the Raiders. I'm excited for it. Minshew Mania in Vegas is going to be absolutely electric.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect environment for him, I think. Besides maybe Jacksonville, which was also amazing. But just the week to week hype that comes from living in like the gambling capital of the world with the gambling capital of quarterbacks. It's going to be fun, if nothing else. So.
Yeah, it's not like Raiders are risking much this year.
No,
Might as well have some fun.
they got him on a pretty cheap deal too, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
why the heck not? All right, next one up. Sam Howell traded from the Washington Commanders to the Seattle Seahawks for two 2024 draft picks. I love this for the Seattle Seahawks. I think this is awesome. I don't understand what the Commanders are doing though. Um, it feels weird to me to like blame the quarterback for your troubles when you just fired the head coach. So you're admitting the coach was the issue, but then you get rid of the QB too. But whatever, Seattle Seahawks reaping the rewards here.
I'm so pissed. I like a couple of years ago when Sam Howell wound up going to the Commanders, I sort of adopted them as like my underdog team that I really liked because I loved Sam Howell and I loved sort of like the team that they were building. And then they betrayed me by trading away their two best edge defenders for pennies on the dollar. And then they betrayed me again by trading away Sam Howell for pennies on the dollar. And man, when the news first broke, I think I saw it like last week that the Commanders would be considering moving on from Sam Howell, and a lot of people were pegging the price as like roughly a fifth rounder. They did at least get more than that, but my immediate response was, if they want a third, I don't hesitate. If they want a first, I consider it. And the Seahawks got away with a pick swap that wound up probably costing you in value wise less than a third round pick. And now they might have cemented their quarterback of the future in this guy who was genuinely like top 10 quality quarterback last season based on his performance. And he was a rookie last year, a top 10 caliber quarterback that was a rookie, just got traded for less than a third. And I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. Great for
Washington,
Seattle. What are you doing,
yeah,
Washington?
And
Washington.
Broncos. Why didn't you trade for him?
Thought it was going to be more expensive.
The Broncos the Broncos currently can't afford to pay a quarterback. All right. Moving on. Kenny Pickett, after being dethroned by Russell Wilson as QB1 in Pittsburgh, has been traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 2024 and 2025 draft pick. Kenny Pickett era is over in Pittsburgh. I'll jump in first as a Kenny Pickett owner. Props to the Pittsburgh Steelers for being able to essentially admit this mistake and embracing the future rather than trying to
Yeah.
squeeze out what you might out of Kenny Pickett. Like, and the 49ers did the same thing last year with Trey Lance. But too many teams in the past have drafted the wrong guy and tried to make it work for far too long because they didn't want to admit they made a mistake. The Steelers spent a first round pick on Kenny Pickett. Trading him away is admitting, hey, we messed up, but we're looking towards the future now. So good for the Steelers. And then I guess if you're the Eagles, cool. You now have a backup in case Jalen Hurts gets hurt. And Kenny Pickett, sorry, buddy, your days of being a starting quarterback in the NFL are over.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a cheap backup for the Eagles, so I don't care. The Steelers, again, like you said, they probably made the right move here. Um, I do think that they handled the player situation incorrectly. Like news comes out that he was told that he would be competing and that he would even be like the head guy in the competition. And then he found out about the trade via like a Twitter notification, and it's just absolute mess from that perspective that the organization has to hope doesn't sort of haunt them when they're trying to sign other free agents. But other than that, it's a
It's
good move, good direction.
it's hard to respect somebody with such tiny ass hands.
Man, speaking of handling trades badly, you guys remember when Harrison Barnes was traded while he was on the court?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
All right. And for our last one, Pittsburgh Steelers getting involved again. They got rid of Kenny Pickett, so they needed a backup quarterback. So they went out and got Justin Fields for a sixth round pick, which is bananas cheap. I
Yeah.
almost roasted the Bears this week for not trading away Fields sooner when his value is much higher and waiting for whatever reason to trade him when every other team found their starting quarterback essentially who wasn't going to do it through the draft. But hey, great for the Steelers. Like, I still think Justin Fields was not given a fair chance in Chicago. I by no means think that Justin Fields is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, but
No.
Looks better than
Chicago,
Kenny Pickett.
yeah, but Chicago did not give him a good chance to succeed with the scheme and the lack of O line and just bad quarterback development. So who
Right.
knows? Maybe Mike Tomlin can help turn him around, and maybe by the end of the season, he'll be taking over Russell Wilson's job.
Yeah, I like this move for the Steelers. Hate it for the Bears. It's just a failure of the organization, but that's not new.
Yeah.
Also, want to briefly mention an absentee from this list, which is partially my fault. Evan asked for us to fill out the list, and I neglected to. But Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs, I think, is a lot of what they needed. Like literally, in a couple of pods ago, I said something along the lines of the Chiefs won the Super Bowl and proved their strength without a wide receiver, but that's not like to say that wide receivers don't matter and that there's priority this offseason should be to get that guy to pair with Mahomes. And they did it pretty cheaply, too. So good move there for them, I think.
Let's now jump over to what's more likely, a segment that we've been having some fun with, just coming up with random scenarios. I'll kick things off for us so that you guys don't get put on the spot. First one, what's more likely? Micah's guy Joshua Carty gets drafted within the first 3 rounds, or the sun explodes this year.
Which one was Joshua Carty? Was that the kicker?
That was the
Yeah.
God damn it, Mecca.
Okay, I'm just kidding. That was a fake one. Real one is so both of these teams, the AFC is very, very competitive. Both of these teams are in divisions that have a lot of good teams, and it's going to be a fight to make the postseason. What's more likely? The Cincinnati Bengals or the Miami Dolphins miss the playoffs next year?
Hmm. I mean, gut reaction is Bengals miss, but let me look into it a little bit. I think I would stick with Bengals missing it. I do think that while the Jets will obviously get better with a healthy Rodgers and who knows what is ever going on with the Bills. But I do think that the Bengals division is tougher, and Dolphins this week have addressed their biggest weakness, which is their defense. They let a lot of people go 2 weeks ago, but they have signed a lot. No names that are incredible and will like fully fix their defense, but they are addressing it at least. And their offense is still ridiculously good. We've seen that Tua can stay healthy and got over all the concussions. I think Miami will still make it. And while the Bengals, I think, will be and are still a great team when Joe Burrow is healthy, I think their division is tougher and is more likely to miss.
I strongly disagree with your last point of which division is tougher.
Okay.
I think that having the Jets, who have an incredible defense and who scraped by a couple of really impressive wins with Zach Wilson at quarterback, are going to greatly benefit from Aaron Rodgers coming back from injury, especially a guy who, if you take away last season, he won the last two MVP awards for the league. Like he's not young anymore, which the injury sort of shows, but he's also like still got it theoretically as long as he comes back well. And then you got the Bills who like were the kryptonite for the Dolphins last year. I think that they are going to have a very difficult time in the division outside of the Patriots, who they will sweep. Um,
Yeah.
but I think they're the better team than the Bengals. I think they're more complete on both ends of the ball. And despite the tougher division, I do think that they have the better odds. So agree on your main point, but their division makes it a harder path, I think.
All right.
All right. Who's up next?
You're not going to share an opinion?
I was going to pick the Dolphins too, and you guys already covered everything. So, woo.
Yeah. All right.
All right. I'll go next with two teams that I don't think by any means should be even remotely favorites to win the championship in the NBA, but two teams that show a lot of talent and promise. Who do you think has a better shot of winning the championship, the Pelicans or the Mavericks?
This year?
Yes.
Man, someone's going to save this clip, but no.
Well, yeah, I already established
Yeah.
that. Neither of them will, but
I look at the number one talent if I'm trying to determine like a team's ceiling in the playoffs, because genuinely, like, look at the teams who have won it all without a top like five player in the past decade. I'm really going to struggle to come up with a name. But I think that Luka is a top five player right now.
yeah.
So it comes down to that. Like he can elevate his game in the playoffs. He can carry a team on his shoulders. It's a heavy burden to bear, but he can do it, I think, more than anyone else on the Pelicans. So that's my answer.
What about Zion? No, I would agree. I'd probably pick the Mavericks. I think just their ceiling on a game-to-game basis is a little bit higher than the Pelicans. The fact that you have Luka who can drop 50 on any given night essentially is fantastic. And then you pair him with Kyrie, who can also give you 30, 40 in the same night. Pelicans, I do think, have more depth, but just not quite enough, like not experienced enough. Haven't had enough time in the NBA, still very young. So I'd probably take the Mavericks.
All right. I think I would agree. I do think Luka's just unreal, and if anyone can do it, it's him. I would say I think it would be closer than Jonathan, you're making it out to be. Like I really like the Pelicans. I love what Zion is doing, and they have a lot of really good defensive players, especially Herb Jones has been incredible this season. Um, but again, when it comes down to one person who's going to be able to make a difference in any game, it is for sure Luka.
I wasn't laughing at the debate between the two teams. To your credit, I do think it was a good question. I was more laughing at the idea of either of them doing it. um, I do think that it's closer than I let on, but they are nearly equally super unlikely to make it. Yeah. So. All right. My first question for this one is going to pose more than two options for you. And I'm leaving out the one that I think we're all going to agree on right now as the answer. Who is the most likely to regret moving on from their quarterback? The Broncos, the Vikings, the Steelers, or the Bears? I'm not including the Commanders because I think we've already established that it's at them, but.
I think if you put the Commanders in there, I would still take the Vikings. I
Ooh.
I mean, you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. You have an offense that is fully capable of being great. You just signed Aaron Jones. That offense could be fantastic if you just had a quarterback to push them along. And now they're saddled with Sam Darnold instead of Kirk Cousins, who I believe Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback. And so I think looking back on it, they're going to be a little sad that they didn't try and squeeze the last bit out of Kirk that they could in this offense setup, because I would not be shocked if within the next year they wind up having to go full rebuild because Justin Jefferson might want out, TJ Hawkinson might want out, Aaron Jones is going to get old. So
Yeah, I would agree. Well, I don't think any of those teams would I necessarily disagree with moving on from a quarterback. Minnesota for sure took the biggest hit in going from Kirk Cousins to Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And like Evan said, like the talent that they currently have is going to be wasted. Like you can't salvage that with Darnold. And I don't think those other teams are going to hurt as much with the talent that they currently have with their new QB.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Um, I don't know. Because I don't think any of these teams necessarily made a mistake with moving on from their quarterback. I think that the Vikings are the most questionable, like you guys said, because they sort of were in this position where they probably had a strong playoff push in them next year. They weren't a competitor, but they were a playoff competitor, and they probably lost that with this move. Um, I might look towards like maybe the Bears. If Caleb Williams doesn't work out, then maybe Justin Fields has a good chance of fitting elsewhere. I think that like my answer, which I thought was obvious, maybe wasn't, which is the Commanders. I think that Sam Howell is really something special, and he's young and talented. So while I think that the Vikings take the biggest immediate hit because they are downgrading massively in immediate talent, the Commanders might suffer the most long term from this decision.
I think I would agree with that. If Commanders were an option, I still think I would have gone with them. But
all right. For my last one, what's more likely? LeBron James stays with the Los Angeles Lakers or moves teams to play with his son?
I think it's a lot more likely he stays. I know he made that comment that he does want to play with his son, but he's made a lot more comments about just wanting to end in LA and finishing his career. And they have enough young talent in my mind that they're never going to be bad. They shouldn't be as low as they are right now. Like right now, they're still struggling, and I would be upset if I was LeBron to be in the bottom bracket of the play-in. But I don't think they're at risk of like getting worse anytime soon. Besides LeBron aging, which we've been scared of for like 5 years now. But I don't think he's actually going to move, and I don't think any team should think to draft Bronny in the hopes of getting LeBron. It's not worth it.
No, not without the guarantee that he's going there, which but I will say I do take the opposite stance of you. I don't think that necessarily any team's going to draft Bronny with the idea that LeBron is coming there, but I think that that's more likely. And largely what I look to for that explanation of that is LeBron's choice in contract extension format this last cycle. He took a 2-year deal with a player option in a second year. That is not something that you do if you see a long-term future with this team. That's something that you do if you want to keep your options open. And now, granted, part of that motivation very arguably could have been that he believes in himself and his ability to earn more money in this next season. But also, I don't think that like he's necessarily in the mindset of I'm taking a player option because money at this point in his career and at this point in his fame.
Yeah.
I think he's taking a player option for options. And if Bronny decides to enter the draft, a lot of people are projecting him to be late first round pick on his own merit, which is probably too early, but still, like if he goes into the draft, gets drafted in the first round, I would not be surprised at all if we see LeBron James decline his player option and go there.
Especially if it's a late first round, because then it goes to a good team.
Yeah.
And if he's willing to not be paid what he deserves.
And I think that's the other thing too, is like LeBron at this point in his career, probably in my mind, I'm not him, I don't have any mindset, but in my mind, he cares about two things, and that is his legacy, his family, and also his, like success on the team. And the Lakers right now are the 10th seed in the West with a fully healthy roster. If you are trying to be successful at the end of your career, I think that your legacy benefits more from going to a good team or playing with your son than it does from being on a bad Lakers team. So if they continue to show this level of failure on their team, then he's out.
Fair.
Cool.
Evan, what's your point?
Yeah, you got to give an answer, dude.
Plot twist. I think LeBron wants to stay in LA. I don't think he wants to move again. I think he loves living in LA. He seems to really like the life that comes with it, like the weather and all that. I think he ditches the Lakers for the Clippers. Takes a discount to go to the crosstown rival.
That would be spicy.
I would love that for the Clippers.
Honestly, yeah.
I want
That'd be
to see
the
it
ultimate
happen.
FU to the Lakers.
All right, Micah, your next one.
Yeah. What is more likely? The Giannis or Luca moves on from their team? Just straight flat.
Luca.
Luca leaves the Mavericks or Giannis leaves the Bucks?
Luca. I feel like Giannis has won a championship with the Bucks. I feel like the Bucks front office has actively shown that they will do what they can to help Giannis and put talent around him. They went out and got Dame. They've essentially done what Giannis has asked for, especially in a small market like Milwaukee. There's only so much you can do. You're not New York. And I don't know, like Giannis just kind of seems to be fine, chilling in Milwaukee. He doesn't really seem to care about the spotlight. He doesn't really seem to care about being in some big market. He said on numerous occasions that he loves Milwaukee, and he'll really only leave if it seems like the organization's goal is to not win. And I think as long as Giannis is there, that's not going to happen.
I'm going to throw a quick caveat to the question because I fully agree with you. And I doubt Jonathan is going to disagree.
I agree.
Bucks flame out first round. Like, it doesn't work. They flame out to a relatively bad team like they did last season. And the Dame trade just does not work.
I still think that he runs it back another season.
Yeah.
I think it takes at least 2 consecutive flameouts in the playoffs for him to consider it. Because they've done what they needed to as far as like his own perspective of go out, make moves, get me more options. And like if it doesn't work year one, I don't think he's the guy that is going to be so impatient that he goes, oh, Damian wasn't the right fit for us. I'm done. I think he's the guy that goes, I've had a lot of fun with this team. I really like this fan base and this organization. You get another chance again. So.
All right.
I also wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if I'm the Bucks, you can easily spin that to where you don't even put blame on the Dame Giannis combo. You throw Doc Rivers under that bus so hard, and you go get yourself a new coach and tell Giannis like, "Hey, Doc clearly didn't work." Because like, I know the postseason is different, but during the regular season, Dame and Giannis seem to be working pretty damn well. And I have zero expectation, at least from an offensive perspective, that that is going to change when they get to the postseason. I think it will continue to work. So I'm not sure if Giannis could come out of the postseason thinking like, fucking Dame, like, so.
Fair.
All right, Jonathan.
Also agreed. Yeah.
My final one is one that's related directly to our podcast, not necessarily directly to sports. And that is, what's more likely? That Evan outscores both Micah and myself this season in trivia, like Micah and me combined, or that any of us 3 ever hit on our third bet? I don't want this to be a hard question, but it is.
Just gonna throw
I'm
this
trying to think if I've
slide up.
made any third bet that has been remotely plausible.
I know that's the point of the third bet, but
I mean, I really hope me and you can do it, Jonathan.
I agree, but I might have less hope in my ability to bet.
Yeah. Let me see what my last couple bets were.
Evan, why don't you go while he's looking?
I'm, I'm gonna say y'all have a better chance to hit on that third bet.
Okay.
I like it.
I mean, hey, scoreboard right now. You guys currently combined have 8, and I have 9. So
It means we're currently losing. That hurts.
I know. That's what I'm saying is at
I
current
do-
pace.
I think that Micah, though, like he's been on a cold streak with trivia lately. I don't think he's won a trivia since like the 5th time that we ran trivia.
Not to give Micah too much shit, but Jonathan, there was a time when Micah had 3 and you had 0.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
That hurts me more, I think.
I think that Micah starts to win a little bit more, and that probably pulls us combined back up into the competitive realm. But I also don't fully believe in our third bets.
I agree. I think Micah's going to start to win a little bit more, but against you.
No, I think he's got this week.
He gave me all the answers half hour ago.
I didn't do that, but it's entirely NBA.
I feel like I do a good job
It's
of
just going to make it hurt more.
I bridge the two sports pretty well, I feel like. So
Yeah, and I normally run them like I try to split half and half in a NBA NFL within each trivia segment. So that kind of I think gives you the edge. But this round, I'm counting on you, Micah. Tie it up for us.
All
I'm
right.
going to say we combined to win. I will say, though, looking back at this a few episodes ago, Jonathan's third bet was for the Nuggets to beat the Wizards.
Yeah, we did it.
So if there's more bets like that.
Cool. So I was right. You guys are more likely to hit that third bet.
All right. Today,
Can I look yet?
yeah, you can look.
Okay.
We are going to be playing the 6 degrees of Kevin Garnett. I'm sure that some of you may have heard of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, which is a derivation of the 6 degrees of separation theory. Basically, that everybody is related to each other through like 6 different connections at the absolute most. So we're going to be playing off of that. Basically, the rules for this are I'm going to give you 2 players, and you must connect them via their past teammates. For example, if I said connect Kevin Garnett to Steven Adams, you might go Kevin Garnett played with Randy Foye on the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Randy Foye played with Steven Adams on the OKC Thunder, which is the best answer possible for this. The first person to give me a correct answer will be granted 2 points. The second player, at the conclusion of the first player's answer, will be given 30 seconds. And within that time, if they come up with a better answer, meaning they have fewer degrees of separation, they will get 1 point back to kind of close the gap a little bit. So your main goal is speed, but your secondary goal is brevity. Especially difficult rounds will be given double points. Also note that coaches don't count except during their stint as a player if they were ever a player. And in double points rounds, all points are doubled. I'm also going to give each of you lifelines. You will have 4 lifelines that you can use at any time in either of the following 2 flavors. You can either take the player lifeline, in which you pick any player and view every single team that they've played for. The team lifeline, in which you pick any team in a specific season and see that team's roster. In order to do this, I say go to basketballreference.com. In fact, do this now for practice. Navigate to basketballreference.com, and you will see a search bar in the top right. Within that, you are able to type a player name. So go ahead and type in Kevin Garnett. It should navigate straight to him instead of pulling up like an ambiguous search option. And if you scroll down, you will see which teams he played for and in which years. This is one of your 2 lifelines. Your other lifeline, which you can practice now as well, you type in a team name and year. Give the full 4 digits or else it won't navigate straight to that team. So for example, type in Timberwolves 1996 in order to see Kevin Garnett's rookie season roster. Now, please note that the year that you type in is the year that the season ended. If you type in anything else, it probably will not navigate you there, and you will be sad. Also, if you use a lifeline, please say out loud in the moment, I'm taking a player lifeline. You do not have to say what player you're looking up because that would be a dead giveaway sometimes as to like where your connections are headed. So like, for example, in this last one where I said like Randy Foye was the connection point, you don't have to say I'm taking a player lifeline for Randy Foye. And then now everyone knows like one piece of your puzzle. You just say player lifeline. Also, you can distribute these lifelines however you want, even if doing all 4 of them in a single round and all four of them on one of these two options. So that's about all she wrote. If you want to stay on basketballreference.com, I will speak the two players that you're connecting before I switch slides. So you're able to like quickly navigate if you want to just stare at that screen instead. I'm not going to make that choice for you though. Are there any questions before we start?
How many total questions are there?
8.
Yeah.
All right. Both people ready?
Yeah.
I'm not sure ready's the right word, but yeah.
Also, if you're playing along at home, then if you beat both of them to the question, it's 3 points for you. But otherwise, the extra point is the same rules. If we're both ready, though, let's get going. Your first connection is Steven Adams to Draymond Green. You are trying to find a way for him to get revenge for that kick in the balls.
Oh,
Buzz.
do we not?
Buzz when you know a connection.
Go ahead.
Steven Adams played with Andre Iguodala to Draymond Green.
I believe that's correct. I will take a little bit of time to double check and fix it in post.
I have a
Well,
quicker one. I think.
How
Pretty sure.
how can you be quicker? I did one person.
Oh yeah, you did do. Yeah.
One moment, sorry.
I
This
might
is
be
harder
wrong though.
to- I thought it would be.
I don't know if
Yep.
Andre's. I don't know if Iguodala's ever played with Adams.
I don't know, that's what I'm worried about, but I don't know. I thought I'd take a stab.
Micah, if you want to buzz in with a equal answer, then I can count it.
But Chris Paul played with both of them.
Okay, so let me continue to try and check.
I'm also. I will say I thought Kevin Garnett was going to be one of the players for every single question.
No.
I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be so tough. Like, I know he played with like Kendrick Perkins and Paul Pierce, and that was going to be my biggest bridge to people. Okay, this is going to be much better than I thought.
So the app that I'm using to double check everything is only uh, accurate as of 2021. So if you know something that I don't and I correct you, please let me know. Andre Iguodala did not play with Steven Adams before 2021.
He hasn't played with him since he's been in OKC or
Memphis.
yeah, OKC and Memphis only.
Mhm.
And Andre hasn't been there.
Mike, your answer was again?
Chris Paul.
Jonathan, I already Googled
believe
it.
that is correct.
That is correct.
Cool. So 2 points to Micah. 3 players was the closest you could have gotten. So there is no opportunity to steal. My answer, which I will be giving for all of these, granted, I was never under a time pressure. They both played with Kevin Durant as well. So,
Oh yeah.
all right,
That
Micah
was the easier
2
one.
to 0. Are you ready for the next question?
Yes.
Connect Draymond Green to Pascal Siakam. Remember, you have 4 lifelines. Buzz when you're ready. You can grab a pen and paper too if you want, but I'll give you more time between questions next time.
Oh, gosh. Buzz.
Yes, Micah.
Draymond Green played with Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes played with Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton has played with Pascal.
All right, Evan, your 30 seconds starts now.
Halliburton with Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, I think I got one.
All right, Evan, what is it?
Wait, how many did you go through, Micah?
Including Green and Siakam 4.
Okay, mine's the same. So does that still work?
I could be
Same does
wrong.
not beat him.
Okay. Could be wrong. Okay, so I'll say the same amount because I can't think of one that would beat him. But just in case he's wrong, I would say Draymond Green, Boogie Cousins, Will Barton, Pascal Siakam.
All right. Let me do some double checking. Micah, Halliburton and Siakam was not more than 3 years old of a play together. Do you remember which team that would have been on?
Uh, Current.
It's present?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
he's on the Pacers right now.
I forget that Siakam went to the Pacers. Holy shit. Yeah, so everything else about his was correct, and he has secured the 2 points. So it's currently Micah 4, Evan 0. Remember, there are 8 total questions, and there are double points rounds, so it can be pretty quick to catch up. And you each have 4 lifelines. Don't forget that too. Are you ready?
I'm trying to save him.
Same.
Your next round is connect Pascal Siakam to Cade Cunningham. This one is not double points. Wow.
I am blanking so hard.
Yeah. I'm going to use one of the lifelines, the team one.
I'm gonna use a lifeline too.
Which one?
Huh?
You have to say which kind of lifeline.
Didn't you say that we didn't have to specify which?
It doesn't have to be player or like you don't have to say the specific player or the specific team, but you have to say which variety.
Oh, okay. I'm going player.
Oh, I took a gamble and there was a bad gamble. But that surprised me with someone.
Also, for both of your knowledge, the experience that you will see on the team roster is the experience during that year. So it'll sort of clue you into whether they were early or late in their career. Which I found helpful for some questions.
Okay, Buzz.
Evan,
Pascal Siakam, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Jeremy Grant, Cade Cunningham.
That's good.
that is Micah, 30 seconds.
uh, Fun fact, did you guys know that Taj Gibson is currently a Piston? Just found that out.
You looked up this year's Pistons roster.
For some reason I thought Derrick Rose was, and I thought I could get somewhere with Derrick
15
Rose,
seconds.
but I needed a double. I'm not getting there. but I thought if I could get Derrick Rose, where's Derrick Rose playing? Is he in Minnesota now?
He's on
Is he
Memphis.
still playing?
He's on Memphis. Oh, he's on Memphis right now. Yeah, he was on a team that's doing not good and is not doing very much, and I was hoping I could. Yeah. All right.
All
Way to
right.
go, Evan.
Good work, Evan.
Dude, the only thing
Scores-
I had to check if Jeremy Grant and Cade overlapped. That was like my only
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good check too. So my answer for this one, I think tied with Evan, was Pascal Siakam to Tyrese Halliburton, Halliburton to Bagley the third, then Bagley to Cunningham.
Hmm.
The best answer that the app gave me was Pascal Siakam to Corey Joseph to Cade Cunningham.
I don't even know who
Yeah.
Corey Joseph is.
Right?
I mean, I know who he is. He was on the Raptors team.
And Detroit.
I didn't know that.
All right. Your next question is connect Cade Cunningham to Victor Wembanyama. This is double points.
Jeez.
You each have 3 lifelines left.
Using a player lifeline.
This one's so tough, largely because Victor Wembanyama's teammates are so tough.
Is this double points?
This is.
Um Buzz.
Micah.
It's not the quickest, but Cade has played with Jeremy Grant, who's played with Dame, who's played with Zach Collins, who has played with Wendy.
All right.
How many?
I'm
How many
pretty
was that?
sure that one's correct.
That was 5 total.
30
total, okay.
seconds. It's fast.
I can only get one that's 5 too.
10 seconds.
I'll say one that matches. Have you already confirmed his, Jonathan?
I will double check, but I'm pretty sure. So
I'm
yeah, that's it.
100% sure I'm right.
Okay.
Grant has played with Cade all of his matches up for sure.
Just in, yeah. So, I mean, but just
I
in case,
still
was
want to
gonna-
hear it.
Yeah, I was going to say Cade Cunningham to Pascal Siakam, Jakob Poeltl, Keon Johnson, and Keon Johnson, Victor. Or Keldon Johnson, I mean.
Ah, yes.
So it would be the same number as Micah.
Backwards, but yeah. Yeah, yeah. Micah secures the double points round, and Evan was not able to get a faster one. You are both down to 2 lifelines. I will also
I
remind.
didn't use a lifeline on that.
Oh, sorry. Micah still
All
has,
from the dome, baby.
Micah still has 3 lifelines. I will also remind if you both run out of lifelines, then you can mutually agree to give each other 1 back.
All right.
But we are moving on to the 5th question now. Micah is up 8-2. Please connect for me Victor Wembanyama to Tim Duncan.
Buzz.
Evan.
Victor Wembanyama, Keldon Johnson, Jakob Poeltl, Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan.
What's their overlap with? I'm going to double check that, but your 30 seconds does start now. Didn't play together. Holy hell. Evan, can you read that back to me real quickly?
Victor Wembanyama, Keldon Johnson, Keldon Johnson, Jakob Pertl, Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan.
Jakob Pertl to who?
Kawhi? Did they not play together?
I don't think they played together. The time is still going.
Hmm.
You both have a shot.
Uh, was
Micah.
uh, Wembanyama to Zach Collins to Damian Lillard. This is where this might break. Damian Lillard to Patty Mills. Patty Mills to Duncan.
Patty Mills and Lillard did not play together. Keep going.
Okay. Um,
You both have lifelines left still if you want to use them.
uh,
Feel like
Buzz.
Evan's close. Evan, go.
Wemby to Keldon Johnson to Jakob Pertl, Jakob Pertl, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Duncan. It's a long one, but I just needed to get something down.
I like it. Your 30 seconds starts now, and I'm going to be double checking them. Remind me, Evan, Pirtle to who, then who to who?
Pertl to DeRozan to Lowry to Kawhi to Duncan.
DeRozan to who?
Kyle
Kawhi.
Lowry.
Lowry. That is correct. Your time is at 5 seconds now.
okay.
I will not count that. That's
Okay,
fine.
cool. I'm going. Uh, I don't remember how many he used, but Wemby to Zach Collins to Damian Lillard to Will Barton to Kawhi to Tim Duncan. I don't know if that was shorter than Evan.
When did Will Barton play with Kawhi?
I'm hoping in Toronto.
I don't think he ever did.
All right.
All right.
Will
Good
Barton
work,
Will
Evan.
Barton didn't
Getting a
play in
couple of
Toronto
points
until
back
last
on
year.
that one. Walking down Spurs history there. I don't think you ever left the team.
Yes, I did. I said Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, true.
That's true. Yeah. My answer for this one, which as far as I could tell, was the best answer, is Victor Wembanyama through the Spurs to Devontae Graham, through the Hornets to, ironically, Tony Parker,
Yeah.
back to Tim Duncan. But good work, Evan. You got it faster than I think I got that one. So, are you both ready for the next round?
What's the score?
It's Micah 8, Evan 4. We have 3 questions left, potentially some double points.
Okay.
The next one is Tim Duncan to Michael Jordan.
Buzz.
Evan,
Tim Duncan, Dennis Rodman, Jordan.
I'm going to double check on that, but your 30-second starts.
Okay.
I do not believe that Duncan and Rodman ever played together.
Okay.
They were separated by just a few years.
Few years? How a few? What?
I know you said coaching doesn't count. Does ownership count? So I could do that real quick. I'm going to use a player lifeline.
All right. You're both down to two now.
I'll use one as well.
What? Why is this not?
You can click on it. It should come up, but if it doesn't, just click on it in the search bar.
Mm.
Hmm. I find this one especially hard because most of them played most of their career with loyal, long-time players. So
Buzz.
like you have to go backwards. Evan,
Tim Duncan to David Robinson, David Robinson to Dennis Rodman, Dennis Rodman to Michael Jordan.
timer starts. That is correct. Oh wait, sorry. Tim Duncan to who?
David Robinson.
To
To Rodman to Jordan.
Rodman. That is yeah.
Uh, Duncan to Steve Kerr to Jordan.
Oh, we got our first bonus point of the game. Evan does take home the 2 points. He was correct. And Micah found the best answer, which was Tim Duncan to Steve Kerr to Michael Jordan. Quite the save.
I'm glad that popped into my head.
Yeah, I literally had to take this one backwards when I was going through to my own mind. And thankfully, going backwards, it wasn't too terribly difficult to connect Steve Kerr. But I until I went backwards, I forgot that he was with Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
All right, the next question.
Score.
Micah is at 9, Evan is at 5. I will tell you there are
5.
2 questions left. They are both double.
How did I just go from 4 to 5 points? I want my 2, damn it.
Yes, Mike is at 8, Evan is at 6. You're
No.
correct.
Mike is at 9, Evan's at 6.
Yeah.
Evan's at 6 up.
I'm so bad at counting tallies. So wow. All right, the next one is Michael Jordan to LeBron James. I was shocked at how hard this was. Like Michael Jordan played his whole career with like the most memorable players who were also his age, so it's hard to escape him. Micah, you have 2 lifelines. Evan, you have 1. I would not count on getting an extra lifeline though, Evan. I think Micah is probably set on holding you out of that.
I'm using a player lifeline.
Each of you have one left. That's amazing.
Okay. Uh,
Buzz.
shit.
Evan.
Okay. Michael Jordan played with Horace Grant. Horace Grant played with Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway played with Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal played with Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade played with LeBron James.
Mikey, your timer starts. Evan, I need you to go back through those.
Okay, Michael Jordan to Horace Grant. They were on the Bulls together.
Confirmed.
Horace Grant, Penny Hardaway.
Um, Shit, how do you spell penny?
His first name was actually Anthony Hardaway.
So it was. Confirmed.
uh, Hardaway with Shaq.
That sounds right. Yep.
Shaq with D Wade.
That's definitely right, but I will double check.
And then D Wade with Braun. I would
Yep.
feel offended if you feel the need to check that.
You have 10 seconds.
Ah, shit.
Three.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
All right. Great work, Micah. Or Evan.
Thank you.
Great work, Micah.
I'll take points.
Evan, with that double points, you come roaring back to take the lead.
Wow.
It is now 10 points to 9, guaranteed since the last round is double points. There will not be a tie. In fact, getting the brevity, the bonus points, doesn't even matter. First one wins.
Cool.
Are we all understood? Oh, first, I do want to say the strategy that I took for this one, because it's so hard to break free of the Michael Jordan era. There's not as many players that cross over as I would think. So I basically had to go Denver route. I went Michael Jordan to Dennis Rodman to Scott Hastings to get to Denver to Mutombo to Antonio McDyess to Chauncey Billups to Carmelo Anthony and then back to LeBron.
Haha, I beat you.
You did. You're going to beat me with this next one too, because I ran out of lifelines and I just didn't get an answer.
Oh, great.
All right, great.
The final one. There is a player that has become somewhat legendary in cult circles for a quote that he once had, where he said, "I am closer to LeBron than you are to me." Please connect
Oh,
LeBron James
yeah.
to Brian Scalabrine.
I mean, he's gonna play a lifeline.
You both have one lifeline.
No, he. Shit. Oh, when did he do that? Okay. Yeah, he's gonna play a lifeline.
Play your lifeline for Micah.
Oh, deal.
Buzz.
No.
Evan.
LeBron James to Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Brian Scalabrine.
Ray Allen to Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett to Brian Scalabrine.
I know Scalabrine was bought
To
I can't. I don't
Scalabrine.
remember what era. If it was during that.
You got it.
Yeah.
I love that you took it through Kevin Garnett as well in his namesake game. I almost felt a little bit badly not including him as a question, but like, damn, you made it work, Evan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The cold streak continues for Micah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good game, everybody. Thanks for playing.
That was fun. I will say, you have no idea how long I was just sitting here trying to remember Horace Grant's freaking name. Well, let's cap things off with some Sportsbook Showdown. Jonathan, you're up first.
All right, for my first bet of the week, I am going with Drake May to go 102 overall to the Commanders, most likely. That is a plus 170 odds. Currently, he's the second favorite at that position, if you don't count Caleb Williams, because he's not going to be available. Plus 170, going 2 units down.
Like it. All right, for my first bet, I'm picking Tuesday slate of NBA games. I'm going Orlando Magic, Dallas Mavericks, Denver Nuggets, and New Orleans Pelicans moneyline parlay. That's at plus 228, taking 2 units on it.
I am also going Tuesday slate of NBA games. I'm doing Hornets plus 12.5 against the Magic, and then Rockets over Wizards, Pelicans over Nets, Mavericks over Spurs, Nuggets over Timberwolves, all money line at plus 685, putting 2 units on it.
All right. For my second bet, I'm going with the Pelicans to finish as a play-in team. So the 7th through 10th seeds, that's plus 330, 2 units down. I do think that the Mavericks, and the Kings, who are their main competition for falling back into play-in, are elevating the game enough to hold on right now. So,
Like it. All right, my second bet, I'm taking Houston to win the NCAA men's championship game. That's plus 500, 2 units. They're currently the second favorite right now behind UConn.
My second bet, I'm going Kevin Huerter in Monday's game against the Memphis Grizzlies to get 12 or more points at plus 210, putting 2 units on it.
how's he doing?
He's currently a 0 with 5 minutes left in the first. Still,
All right.
still early.
No.
You're hurtering me.
All right, and for my final bet of the week, I am going to be picking the NFL division winners. So I'm going with the Jets, the Texans, the Ravens, the Chiefs. Hot take, if you're going to narrow this parlay, keep the Chiefs in there. I think their odds are amazing right now. The Eagles, the Falcons, the Packers, and the 49ers. Same thing said for the Packers, who I think all of their competition is getting weaker right now. Overall, that's plus 52,033, 1 unit down.
Nice. My last one, I'm doing NCAA tournament Final Four. I'm taking UConn, Creighton, Arizona, and Houston at plus 7,034, putting a unit on it.
My last bet, I'm going with the Seattle Mariners to win the World Series at plus 1,900, putting my last unit on it.
Never going to happen.
Yeah, no, but Julio.
Sure. All right, that's all the time we have for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I haven't done a spicy take in a while, so I guess I'll do one. The Minnesota Timberwolves are going to get eliminated in the first round of the NBA playoffs this year.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Good night.